Yay.
Okay.
Okay, I'll share my screen if that's cool, because I have like a little presentation that might be easier to kind of follow along with too. Oh, it says I can't share.
Oh, I gotta allow you in. Sorry. And for everybody who's watching this recording, we are here with Nicole Bernard of MB Marketing, and she's gonna share some great tips with us as always. So did that allow you to?
Oh, let me see. Yes, yay. Okay. Can y'all see my screen now? It's. Can you see that? Like the title?
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay. Yay. Okay, let me move my Zoom thingy. Okay, so it's, what business owners need to know about search engine optimization in 2021, because Google updates all the time, but they had like a really big update earlier this year. So it's really important for, people searching for like what your products or services, how they'll help them. So, and we do that with our website and search engine optimization. I feel like I don't need to introduce myself, but I guess I'll do it really quickly because I know everybody on the call. But I've been an entrepreneur since 2007, ran a small business with my husband for 7 years, and during that time did all of the marketing, so website design, search engine optimization, social events, all of that. After we closed the farm, I went and worked at a few digital marketing agencies and just really learned the strategies they were using for big brands, and then branched out on my own in 2016. And now I provide marketing services, coaching, and courses to businesses nationwide. I also have a podcast, and I'm recently now a contributing writer to Entrepreneur. So when I'm not working, you'll find me camping or with a glass of wine. So I always love to share stats in the beginning because we hear them, but I think when we see them all put together, it's kind of like, whoa, you can't really ignore them. So businesses that show up on the first page of Google get 92% of all consumer traffic on the internet. That's a lot. 4.9 million searches per minute in 2020.
Oh.
I know, isn't that insane?
Yeah, it is actually.
That's up from 3.8 million searches in 2016. So, I mean, we all tend to just start Googling things when we have a question. So, yeah. 93% of global traffic comes from Google search, Google Images, and Google Maps. 70% of consumers want to learn about products and services via content, not ads. So a lot of people kind of skip past those pay-per-click ads at the top, and they'll try and get to the authentic, real content that businesses are putting out. 76% of people who search on their smartphones for something nearby will visit that business within a day. And then search engine optimization drives 1,000% more traffic than organic social media. So it really is a great tool to utilize, but I think the problem is a lot of people aren't sure how to kind of do it, and there's different aspects to it. So that's what we're going to go over today. So yeah, with all of that, all those stats, all that noise online, how can people find you? How can you cut through that noise? With a solid SEO strategy. So what exactly is SEO? According to Moz, which is a great tool, they have tons of freebies too. So if you ever just go to moz.com, you can learn all kinds of SEO information there as well. But it's the practice of increasing the quantity and quality of traffic to your website through organic search engine results. And an SEO is comprised of multiple aspects. So it's kind of an umbrella with certain kind of columns underneath that umbrella, which I'm going to go over all 4 of them today. It can be a moving target because Google, like I said, updates algorithms 500 to 600 times a year. And so there's many different aspects to increasing your search engine optimization. And like I said, they had a really big update. A lot of times they don't even tell us when they update their algorithms because they do it so often. But if they do have a core update, they will tell the public, which happened in May. And it's really about the customer experience and user experience on your website, which again, I'm about to dive into, but so that was kind of a big deal in the SEO world this year. So like I said, under that umbrella, there's a few different types of SEO. So one would be technical. This is how like you optimize your site for search engine spiders, so they can crawl and index your site quicker and easier. On page, this is what you do to each new page that goes up on your website so that you can rank higher for those relevant search terms that you're trying to get found for. Off page, this is when you drive traffic from other websites to your website. And then local, that's optimizing your website for your local area search. And I just wanted to point out that relevancy is by far the most important aspect of your overall SEO strategies. Google focuses on user intent. So the more relevant your content is to someone searching, the more likely Google will pull it up in their results. So like, you know, like the keywords, long tail keywords, it could be a sentence, it could be a phrase of what people are trying to figure out or find. If they have a problem, or if they're trying to find a great place to eat in the local area, they'll start typing that in. So the quicker, like the more you can get what they're searching for and what's on your website on these different aspects, like that's what's like Google's going to pull that up and show that to them. So you want to be really relevant to your audience. So technical SEO. So you need to create your content, which would be like your pages or your blog or you know, any, like you do a podcast, you put that up, like you want to create all that content for humans, but you need to optimize it for Google's like spiders that send that's what they send out to like look at all the search results. So there's a few things you need to do in order for them to be able to pick up on that, because they obviously can't see because they're not real. So this is like the technical things they look at, like your links on your website. Do they all work? You know, having multiple broken links will affect your ranking. And then do you have calls to action, CTAs directing people where you want them to go? Like, do you want them to book a call with you? Do you want them to make a reservation online? Like, do you have a certain call to action that works, that like leads them to that next action? Security, this is a big one. Is your site secure? So that means you have like HTTPS as opposed to HTTP. If you're not sure, you can contact your hosting company, and it's just a certificate that you get for the year, and it's not super expensive. But you know, like now to Google, if you go to like an unsecured website, it'll like pop up like, you know, a pop-up saying like the site is unsecure, you know, and it's just they downrank it, and then also people are like, oh, I don't want to, you know, be on this site, like what's going to happen, or you know, things like that. So for those two reasons, you really want to have it secure. Speed, how fast is your site? You know, people make up their mind like in less than 5 seconds, like if they want to stay on there, and if it takes a while for your page to load, people will bounce and just go to the next one. So it's got to be fast, or you'll lose potential customers and get penalized, because Google doesn't want to send people to slow websites either. So they created an awesome tool that lets you check the side of your speed. It'll run it on both desktop and mobile, and it'll give you a grade. And if you just Google it, like if you go to Google and say Google website speed test, it'll bring you there. And you can just plug your URL in, and it'll tell you. Some of them can, like some of the things that the issues that need to be addressed might need a developer. Some you can take care of, some you can't. But if you're not sure and you want to see the like speed, and it also tell you a few other things like links, and if your images are too big and they're slowing your website down, it'll give you the detailed report. So that's always good to know. Mobile friendly. So mobile traffic surpassed desktop traffic this year. So Google's algorithm recently switched over from desktop first to mobile first. So they're putting more of a priority on mobile friendly optimized websites than desktop, because more people, we're all using our phones now. So it's critical to have that mobile friendly site.
Nicole, can I jump in with a question?
Totally.
I know recently we've been hearing about ADA compliant websites. Does that help your ranking?
They haven't brought that out with like your algorithm or anything yet, because it's still kind of relatively new, I think, and everybody's still trying to figure out, like, well, first off, a lot of people didn't know that you were supposed to have it, but it hasn't affected like the algorithms yet. But I have heard of like lawsuits of some people like suing businesses that don't have it. So that's its problem all by itself, but not so much as your ranking yet.
Okay. But
yeah, that's a good question too, because that needs to be addressed, because that is probably going to be something that's like required soon, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so, and this kind of feeds into, well, again, it's not in the algorithm, but user experience is more important than ever. So like Google is really focusing on like when people get to your website, if it's easy for them to navigate, if it's fast, if it's secure, like the pop-ups, like those big ones that kind of take over your screen, like the obtrusive ones, those are counting against you now just because it's annoying to people. Google will penalize it. So you want to make sure your website's up to date and runs smoothly. Okay, so on page SEO. So that's like the technical SEO column. Now we're going to move to on page. So this is what you do to each page or blog that goes up on your website. It only takes a few minutes, but it might take a little bit longer in the beginning when you're kind of getting used to it, but it does get easier and quicker every time you do it. So your title tag, so this is like the title of your page. So this would all be done on the back end of your website, whatever platform you use, WordPress, Showit, Squarespace, any of that. You have a title of your page. So if it's like services or something, you'd name it services. If it's a blog, you'd add the title of the blog to the title tag. And then from the title tag, you also want that to kind of match your URL, so it's easier to see, plus like the bots see that they're matching as well. So you want to create a clean, simple URL to match the title and the content of your page. So you don't want one that ends in like a bunch of numbers or letters, you know, like WordPress, if you put a new page up and you don't change that, it'll just put a default, like really ugly URL. And that's really hard for people to find. So it makes it easier in search engines to find you when it has that information in the title and the URL. And then the meta description, you know, those are those little descriptions that pop up when you're Googling something that gives you like kind of a preview of what that page is about. And so you want to make sure you fill all of like every meta description out as you put a new page up, or if you haven't done it, go back and put them up, because it again gives those bots information as to what that page is about. And then also the person searching, they can see that too, whether they want to like go to the next step or not. So it's just a short summary of the content. It has to be under 155 characters, and it's what Google shows in the search results under that title and URL. So you want those all to kind of match up with each other. Alt text. So this is the text that you use to describe the images on in your content. So if you put up a new page or a blog, you want to always include an image if you can. Since the bots can't see, they need to read the description of that image. And so you want to use something that does describe the actual image. But also keep in mind of your keyword of like what your content is kind of overarching about. And if it can be used in that alt text, use it. It used to be like people would pick a keyword. So say it was like digital marketing, you know, and then if I put a picture in there, I would just put that digital marketing in there, even if it was like a picture of a person. Like people would just put the keyword there, even though that's not what the picture was about. But they've evolved since then, and they'll actually like if you can't put the keyword in that goes with your content, then really do just put it about like woman on a laptop or something, because they don't want you just stuffing that keyword everywhere, which is what like the strategy used to be, but it's not like that anymore because people like Google's a lot more intuitive now. Inbound links. So these links are when you highlight like a sentence or a few words on your page or blog, and then you link it to another page on your site. So again, you want it to kind of be relevant to what you're highlighting and why you're sending them there. So for instance, at the end of a blog, you have the words contact us to get started. You would want to highlight those words and then link it to your contact page. And then it makes it super easy for them to click in that link and they go directly to that page to contact you. Or if like you had, you know, to keep learning, download our ebook, and you would, you know, highlight download our ebook, and then that would go to a landing page where they could get that information as well. And then keywords. So these are the words that you're trying to like rank for. So it's important to include them in your meta description and alt text. Don't just stuff them in like I was saying, but just use them in the flow. So this would be, so say you're like a realtor or something, and you were writing a blog about first-time home buyers. Like that would be kind of your keyword of like what you would, that all that content would be about. But it would kind of be like, you know, the meta description could be like first-time home buyers struggle to figure out, you know, what kind of house to buy or what the steps are. Read our blog to learn the process. So you want to make it a little bit like specified and not so broad, but so they all tie together. And then, you know, your title could be first time home buyers guide or something like that. So hopefully that makes sense. Is that making sense?
Good question.
Yeah.
So keywords, when you say keywords, would you put in first time home buyers? Like you can put that in there. And if you put that in there, like where it says keywords, can you add multiple keywords, and would you just put like a comma between them?
No, you would want to pick one kind of like long tail phrase, like so I'm trying to think of like how that, like what first time home buyers would be like typing in, but it's, or like, okay, so how we could do like how to buy a house for the first time, you know what I mean? And then like it could be, or it could be like the guide to first time home buyers, something like that, of like what people would type into the URL, and then we have all of these different things kind of matching up with that keyword. And if you wanted to do a different one, like financing my house for the first time, like that would be like a separate blog or a separate new page on the website focused on that keyword.
So I guess when you put it in, so because there's a space for you to put in, it says keywords, right? So do you put like how space to space by, or do you flow it all together? Like how do you put it in the box?
Yeah. Yeah. What website do you use? Do you use like Platform? Squarespace. Okay. Yeah. No, you would write it just like normal. Like it's called a long tail keyword. So it's essentially like a sentence. Like a keyword isn't just one word. I mean, I guess it could be, but that's really hard to rank for. So it really is kind of like a phrase or a sentence of what people would be searching for. And then you try to adapt that into your alt text, your title, in the keyword that you would put right there in the little box on Squarespace.
Does it matter if you use like a period or question mark or
yeah, no, I don't. You don't usually use quotations because it's usually just you could, like, if it was definitely a question somebody was doing, you could leave a question mark, but if not, just leave a period off.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and Google likes fresh, updated content. So you need to create new, or even you can update your content often. So for instance, like I had a blog that was like Instagram best practices for 2019. And like, if you put things with a year on it, you want to make sure you do go back and update that content, because a lot has changed, specifically like with Instagram on that blog, all the new features, but then also that year, because they're going to see that year in the title. And then they're going to be like, oh, that's old information, you know? So it shows activity on your website. And then Google also realizes that it's not just like a stagnant website. So consistency is key. Okay, off-page SEO. So this is also known as backlinks. So this is a strategy that involves getting other websites to link back to your website. This could be through online listings or directories that would be like Yahoo or Google. You know, if you're like a B&B or a restaurant or something, like TripAdvisor, things like that, Yelp. And then you could also do guest blogging, or like you can send out press releases too, because people will put that on your website and they would link back. You can also use social media as a way to drive traffic back to your website, because you're putting that link there and you're driving them back. So yeah, these are just a few of the ways that are the easiest ways. So yeah, guest blogging, online listings, social media, and press releases for that off-page SEO. Local SEO. So local search and maps are another way to optimize your website and drive traffic. So you want to be sure you verify your Google My Business listing and utilize it. You can make posts and complete your profile, and that'll help you get more local traffic. So like when people are searching for coffee or sandwiches in Stevenson, you know, like hopefully your Google My Business listing will pop up in like that 3-pack. And you can put, like I said, you can do posts on there, and they last like a week at a time. And so they'll show up at the bottom of Google. So those are a really great free way to, you know, also get traffic that way. And then you also want to include your local keywords to localize your website. So that would be like Stevenson or Columbia River Gorge, Stevenson, Washington, Skamania County, things like that. So they can pick up on those keywords when it's doing that local kind of regional search. So pulling it all together, and it's kind of, like I said, that big umbrella with lots of different little things. But yeah, this is how you could just do it all and really get a good handle on your search engine optimization. So you can run a website audit. Like I said, that speed and everything, it'll tell you to make sure everything's good to go. And if it's not, you can pull your developer in to fix things if you can't do it yourself either, if it takes too much time maybe. And then you also just want to like check on your website periodically just to make sure like links don't get broken or, things happen and it just gets old and stagnant. So you just want to, quarterly keep an eye on it and make sure everything's running smoothly and, make sure your messaging and everything and your images are still kind of what you're wanting on there if anything hasn't changed. And then you can brainstorm topics that you can consistently create content about, or you can hire someone to do it. There's a lot of different like content creation places out there, like Fiverr, Writers Access, Upwork. Like if you don't want to write a blog or create an ebook or something like that, you can get it done for relatively cheap. Think about your customers' struggles, their wants, needs, and address those in that content form that they like to consume, whether that's a blog or a podcast, or if you want to make videos. Like what are the common questions you get asked is a great place to start, and then start building out those topics of that content you could create. And then you can also create a calendar, and that helps keep you on track. And then you post this new content with like the on-page best practices. Like I said, get the meta description, your title, all that. And I promise it does get easier and quicker. And then you can do outreach as well to get that on other websites and social media and publications if that works for this kind of content and for your business. And then you can leverage that content on Google My Business and other online listings. And that's really it. Just consistently doing those 4 things. And then also when you do the technical and take all of that again, kind of that's there by itself. Like it's taken care of and you just check on it periodically. So then you really just have the other 3, which would be creating the content, driving traffic back to the content, and then also making sure local, like your Google My Business and all that kind of local stuff. And that's not applicable for all businesses because some are, completely like online businesses or things like that. But if you are like a local brick and mortar, or even if like you're a photography person and your studio is at your house, but you're local, that would, you'd want to really concentrate on your local listings as well. That is all of it. So thanks for having me. And I'd love to answer any questions. I do have like a simple SEO course as well if you ever want to dive into all of these topics deeper, and there's videos and PDFs and worksheets and everything, because it can be kind of confusing, but once you kind of get into it and you get used to it, it really isn't too bad.
So of course I have a couple of questions, because I always have questions. For the off-site or off-page, I think you called it, does this kind of count, I guess? On the Chambers page, we have our membership listing. So say Lori's website would be listed on our website with a clickable link to hers. Is that considered off page?
Yes.
So that helps her website become more searchable.
Yep.
And then
more
if
searchable.
she then put, I'm a chamber member and she links to our page, then it's mutually beneficial for both of us to, is that what you're, okay.
Yeah, definitely. Because the more you can have so they also take into account okay, people are linking back to that website. It must be credible because most people, wouldn't want to link without it. So the more you can link out, and that gives Lori another online listing, like her listing could come up as when somebody searches. Then it also just makes her look a little more credible because she is linked to a site that has a lot of listings. And I'm pretty sure your domain has been around for a while too, because they take that into account, whether it's like an authoritative domain, plus it's a .org. So there's all kinds of different things they kind of take into account. But long story short, that's definitely beneficial for both of you guys to have them going back and forth.
And does it help too to have their social media pages listed? Does it matter at all?
No, it would just be, it's helpful for her, but her business, to be able to have that access there too, that people could check out, but not so much algorithm wise, but for her website, yes.
Okay. And then Do you have kind of a best practices schedule for checking up on our website?
Yeah,
Like
so
how
usually,
often do we check the speed and how often do we check our pages and make sure links aren't broken? What's a good practice for that?
yeah, so that's like quarterly, like after you kind of do that first initial one and see any issues and like get all those taken care of, then it really is just kind of quarterly of checking it and making sure. A lot of like businesses, as far as content creation goes, like they'll kind of get on a timeline as far as like, okay, it's the beginning of the month. They'll kind of look back on like their website analytics and see what keywords and traffic people were looking for, and then they'll take that and create that new content for that month. And so then they have that content, they have their social media, they have all that going through that month. And then again, at the end of the month, look back at their analytics, see what was doing well, see what people were searching for, and then create or order that content in the beginning of the month for that month, if that makes sense. And then you can also too, like if you want to take it a step further, because digital marketing, they all kind of work together. Like you can always take the blogs and you have a monthly newsletter and have a recap of like, hey, this is what's new on the blog, and send them back that way, because they might not be searching or come across your website, or even social media reach is really down, so they might not even see it if you post it to your social. So if you have a separate email address, email like campaign, they can read it that way too, so that way they're getting it in all these different places.
And will the Google, the website speed test, that will just, you said it tests more than just the speed, it tests.
Yeah, well, it kind of like the Google one is speed. There is like, if I mentioned Moz, or there's like SEM Rush, or there's Uber Suggest. You can do a little bit deeper dive that's more just speed. It'll show you what broken links you have. It'll show you like what's slowing your website down, like what you can improve. But the Google one really is just speed, and it'll tell you like which images, like if you have to compress them, things like that. But yeah, any of those tools are great, and a lot of them have like free trials or even like a smaller version just to give you a good update of like what you need to fix. Because yeah, like I said, was kind of this whole technical customer user experience update in May, June has really been a big one. So a lot of people are offering these kind of tools to see where you're at.
Are those usually paid services?
Some can be. The Google one's always free, but the other ones will, like, for a while they were all paid, but I've noticed a lot of them have like free trials or like free mini versions now. And I don't know if it's because of this whole update, but probably.
So for what you're talking about, like, does Google Analytics take care of a lot of this?
Google Analytics is just to see like who is coming to your website, where they're coming from, what keywords they're looking at, like how, where they're going. There's like a schematic you can look at. It'll show you where they travel through your website and where they like exit off of your website. So it's more like demographics and behavior than like performance. But you can Google Search Console, which is another free tool by Google, is kind of like Google Analytics because it will tell you the visitors and different things, but it is more technically focused, and you can get like the exact, like how many people searched for a certain keyword. And it will tell you like your performance as well. I don't know that it breaks down exactly like this is what's broken, this is what you need to fix, but it will give you an overall like website like grade score. So that's a good one to have too. And I didn't mention that before because it used to be like just for developers. It was called Google Webmaster Tools, but they've kind of made it easier to understand. So it's called Google Search Console, and you can hook that up like on the back end of your website, and then actually Google Search Console and Analytics will talk to each other, so it gives you a little bit more information.
Nice.
Thank you so much,
tips.
Nicole. This has been so good for me. Thank you.
Hey,
It's so helpful.
Yeah, and I can do it just like the last time too. If you want the slides, Lori, I can send them to you, and then Angie, if I can send them to you as well if anybody watches this and wants the slides, just so they have all that information.
yeah.
Yes, we want the slides.
Always like the slides and all the good good, useful tools to send out to people.
Yeah. I mean, SEO is, I mean, seriously, it can be a full-time job. People have full-time SEO jobs, but I try to make it to where it's like you can do the things that you could do as a business owner that are going to make the most impact. You know what I mean? And that are not like super overwhelming. So.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Did you have any last minute questions, Lori?
I probably have a lot of questions, but I'm good because this is like so much information, but I love it. I'm so excited about it. And I'm going to like, because we can watch the recording, right?
Yeah, we'll
I'm gonna-
upload this to our YouTube channel. So, and
I'll listen to it
can
again.
send
But
you
this
the
is so
link.
awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And then I think, yeah, I have like a freebie too, Lori. I think it's like 7 things you need to know about SEO in 2021. I can send you that PDF as well because it talks about like relevancy and speed and I don't know, 7. I think there's 8 things. I think I added a bonus. So if you want that too, it's
I
simple
love
again,
that.
but helpful. Okay.
Thank
Awesome.
you so much.
And are some of these resources on your website?
The 7 things to know about SEO is available on my website. Yeah, that's just like a free downloadable. But yeah, digging deeper into all of these topics is a course that's also on my website. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And thank you, Lori, for joining us. Thank you for the yummy sandwich.
Yeah. Thanks for putting this on. So great. Thank you.
Well,
Yay,
we'll
yeah.
let you all get back to your day, and we'll do another lunch and learn next month.
Awesome. Thanks for
Have a
having
great
me.
week.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.